Hello, everyone. Welcome to another 10 to 20 with Tanya. Today, we're going to talk about gestures, especially gestures that you will see and find and hear about in the United States. So, I want to welcome everyone who is joining me live today and on the recorded version. Let me know if this is your first time live with me or if you've been here before and where you're from. Hi, Jeff. It's good to see you here. So, today, what I'd like to do is encourage you to write whatever questions you have about gestures, which you can see I'm already gesturing with my hands here in the comments. I'm going to start by just describing what a gesture is. So, a gesture is anything we do to express something without words, but rather with using body language, facial expressions, and things like that. So, this is a common gesture to say hello or goodbye, not only in the United States, but all over the world. But there are some gestures that are international, meaning we all use these gestures all over the world. And there are others that are not international. And I have been talking with our women's speaking program participants and students all week, a little more than a week, about gestures, and I have learned so much. I want to share a little of that with you and also share some gestures that we use commonly here in the United States that might not be gestures you've seen or heard of before, or maybe it's a gesture you've seen and you weren't sure what it means. So, if you've seen a gesture and you're not sure what it means, go ahead and write that in the comments, either on the recorded version or on the live version, along with your questions. Hi, Saima. Thank you for the heart. Thank you so much. Welcome, everyone. So, let's start with a very common gesture that we don't use as much as we did when I was a kid. I think that's because it has been replaced, or there are other gestures that mean the same thing. So, this is the gesture for okay. Yes, like, okay, I'll do that, or okay, I heard you. It's very, very similar to this gesture. Nowadays, this gesture is a lot more common, but people will understand you if you use the okay gesture. I'm curious, do you more often use thumbs up or okay? And write it in the chat for me. Give me a thumbs up or write thumbs up or okay in the chat, or use the little emoji, which brings me to another topic. Emojis like this one, the smiley face, the thumbs up, the high five, the clapping emoji. I see Yakub has already given me the waving emoji, which is a gesture. This is the new way to gesture, is to use emojis. And I think they are very important to the way we communicate through texting, which is a whole nother topic. I love getting these hearts. Thank you so much. Hi, Aldana. Nice to see you. Hi, Yakub. Let me know where you're from. Hi from Poland. It's awesome. Oh my gosh, you can also put the 100%, I see. Thank you so much. Welcome from the Ukraine. So I made a little list of gestures I don't want to forget to include today. The first one was the okay gesture. This is the second gesture. If you know what we mean when we say this, write it in the chat. So I'm going to write the name of this gesture is crossed fingers. Crossed fingers. There's a couple of different things that we mean. It has also changed and evolved over time. I'll tell you one of the things it could still mean, but it was more common 20 or 30 years ago, is we would cross our fingers if we were lying. If we were not telling the truth, we would cross our fingers, but we wouldn't show you. We would put it behind our back or maybe in our pocket so that you couldn't see that we were crossing our fingers. because it was sort of a myth or a superstition. Let me write that word, superstition, that if you lied but you crossed your finger, it was okay to lie. Of course, this isn't true. But nowadays, this has an even more common meaning. So let's see if anyone has written what it is. Um, all right. Jeff is saying that this, thank you, Jeff, for not using salty language here, but it is very common that different gestures mean different things in different countries. So if a gesture is what we would call vulgar, vulgar meaning um, it is rude, it is crude, it is inappropriate, it's not okay. This is really common that it's okay in some countries and in others it's not. So I just learned from Jeff, this is probably not a good thing to do in Brazil. It looks like here in the United States, it's totally okay. Um, which brings me to another one. In the United States, this symbol means peace. We often hold it up like this to mean peace. But in England, in Great Britain, if you only turn it around, it means something vulgar, inappropriate, rude. So that is something to know if you're learning British English. I myself don't speak British English. I know a little, enough about it to kind of understand some of the differences. But that is something you would want to be aware of. What gestures are rude or inappropriate in a country if you're going to travel there or immigrate there or something like that. Welcome, everyone. So I haven't seen that anybody, does anyone know what crossed fingers, if you make this gesture to someone, like if you look at them and hold the gesture up towards them, what do you mean? Does anyone have a guess about that? I'm going to let you think about that and put your guess in the comments while I look for the next one. So the next one is not as commonly used, but it is the hang loose gesture. So when you put your three middle fingers down and leave your thumb and pinky, we sometimes call our little finger our pinky. I'm going to write that, our pinky finger. This is hang loose. And even hang loose might not be something that you would be familiar with. It just means to be relaxed, to be laid back. Laid back is another way to say to be relaxed or calm. And when you do this gesture towards someone, it is similar to saying, have a good day, but it's more like saying, have a relaxed day or a relaxed time. This, as far as I know, this gesture is comes from Hawaii. It's very more commonly, I shouldn't say very commonly, more commonly used amongst surfers or people who spend a lot of time at the beach, maybe in California or in Hawaii, but of course in other areas that have beaches, but also in other parts of the United States. And I think it has caught on to other places around the world. Have you seen the hang loose gesture before? If so, say yes or give me a thumbs up or a hang loose in the comments so I can see if anyone has seen this one. Still nobody guessing or knowing what this one means when we give this gesture to someone else. I'll give you a hint. It's very positive. It is a good wish that you're giving someone. So, do you know what this good wish is when you give this gesture to someone? Okay, speaking of hang loose, a gesture that my children and I use with each other a lot is this. So, you go from hang loose, you just put one finger up, and we wave at each other this way. This gesture actually comes from American Sign Language. In American Sign Language, this is I, this is L, and this is Y. So it's ILY. Does anyone know if you text someone ILY, what are you saying? So there's two for you. to put in the comments now. What do we mean when we say ILY texting? Here's another gesture for texting. Or if we're saying it in American Sign Language like this, what are we saying? Okay, I see two people already got this one. Diana and Jeff say, it is I love you. I love you. So when my daughters are leaving, I will wave at them like this. It's both saying goodbye and I love you because, of course, this is goodbye. Goodbye. I love you. And we use this a lot, even if we're not leaving. If one of them is having a particularly difficult time and they're across the room, I can just go like this. I usually don't lift my hand up and wave in that case. Then I'll just go like this, just to remind them that I love them. Sima says the same thing. Thank you for another heart, Sima. Okay, so still no guesses on this one. Let me see if I can give you a context. So, if someone tells you that they are going to be doing something new this weekend, something that they have never done before, you might say this to them. Or if someone is going to take a test and they are really hoping to get a good grade, or maybe they want to raise their score on the IELTS or the TOEFL. You can do this to them. What do you think you mean if you say that? All right, here's another one. This one you may have seen, or you have probably seen the emoticon. It's this one, and we call this one the face palm. Face palm. And the face palm is like, ugh, I can't believe I said that or did that, or I'm so embarrassed. So again, we use this with the little emojis to express this, or when we're talking with someone. I see that Sima has guessed this one. Yes, Sima, this can be good luck. Good luck. I hope things go well for you. Um, Especially, I hope things go well for you. I am thinking of you and I am hoping everything goes very well. Good luck. Um, so this is something actually I use that one quite often with my students, because we're often having conversations where they're telling me things that they have goals or things that they're doing or trying to achieve. And I use this quite a bit with my students. Do you use this um, gesture in your country? Is the good luck gesture or the fingers crossed gesture common in your country? I know you can find it in the emojis. I don't know. I don't think it is in my most used emojis, but here's the okay one. Here's okay. I'm going to put it in the comments. Oh, maybe I'm not. There we go. That I talked about a little earlier. If you're just joining us, be sure you go back and watch the beginning of the video when I post it for the recording. Okay, here is another one that is not as much a gesture as it's a gesture, but something we do playfully, not necessarily to communicate a certain thing other than playfulness. And it's this like piece, but behind somebody's head, and we call it rabbit ears. And it is somewhat common to do that when people are taking a picture. Someone else will hold up the rabbit ears behind the person next to them. It's a playful thing to do. We wouldn't do it if we were doing a very professional photograph or something serious, but if we're having fun, uh, hiking in the woods with friends on the weekend, we might do this. It's just something playful. I see Sima says this is victory. I have heard that before. Aldana, is this the one that signifies you forgot something? I could see how that could be because we sometimes use this as to remember something. Is that what you meant, Aldana, by your comment? I'm curious. So those were rabbit ears. This one is very, very common. I'm sure you've seen it. I'm not sure if you know what it means, but when we use the air quotes, I'll put the name here, air quotes. By the way, if you're watching the recording and you're wondering where I'm typing this thing, it's in the comments. If you make your image of the video smaller, you can see the comments on the side. Not sure if you can see them on your phone. Does anyone know if you can see the comments on a recorded live on your phone? Let me know. Okay, so air quotes. Air quotes are something we use when we want to say that something is sarcastically, like if we're saying something sarcastically, we'll do this. Or if we mean supposedly, like, for instance, he was very kind to her. Maybe he said he was kind, but he wasn't actually kind. So we do it like this and we make this facial expression as well. Is this a gesture you do? I'm also curious, what are some common gestures you have in your country that are different than the gestures we have here in the United States or that you have seen in other English speaking countries? Yes, Jeff says this can mean quote unquote. So, for instance, if a friend of mine told me something and I am quoting him or her, I can say, she said, blah, 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 blah. I'm quoting them exactly. So it's like the little quote marks. Let me give you the quote marks. They're very tiny here, but I typed little tiny quote marks in the thing there. Aldana says, touching the forehead. This one is I forgot something. Yes, thank you, Aldana. Yes, we can do this for I forgot something as well. Thank you very much. All right, I have just one more for you, but I'd love to hear about gestures in your country or questions you have for me about gestures. So the last gesture is new for me, not new like in the last year or two, but newer in my life. Up until I was about 35 or 40, I never saw this gesture. I wonder if you can guess what it is. It is a newer gesture that we did not have when I was a child. I'm going to take a drink of tea while you think about that and write your answer or questions in the comments. Did you hear Pippa meow? So far, we have not heard Espy the dog. She's taking a nap right over here, which is unusual on Saturdays. Knock on wood. We do this gesture actually, and even do it this way or on a wall or anything that is wooden to say knock on wood. When we say something like I just did, we haven't heard Espy, my dog, bark. I don't want to wake her up, so that's why I'm whispering. This is a whisper. Knock on wood means I just said this. I hope I don't jinx it. Jinx, like I hope I don't make her wake up. Or if we say knock on wood about something, I hope it doesn't change what I just said, those kinds of things. Okay, bad luck. Yakub, I haven't seen the bad luck gesture. Can you describe it for me here in the chat? Or is there another thing that you're talking about with that? So the gesture that is new to me that I had never seen before as a child is the heart gesture like this. I have to say, I love this gesture. I think it is such a kind, one of the most kind gestures I've ever seen. And when people started making this gesture, I right away wanted to learn how to do it. I remember it was awkward. I'll put that word for you, awkward for me, difficult for me to do. But I really love it, just like I love to get the hearts here on the little button where you can send hearts. Yakub says that knock on wood is bad luck. It means bad luck, or it might bring bad luck. Can you tell me more about that one? Oh yes, Esther says that knock on wood can mean that hopefully something doesn't happen. Hopefully that doesn't happen. It's the same here. And when we do this to represent knock on wood, I don't like it when we do this because we're inferring that we're stupid, that our head is made out of wood. So it's an unkind thing to say to yourself or someone else. But sometimes people think of it as funny, a funny thing. Um, Although sometimes one person will think it's funny and the other person doesn't think it's funny at all. All right, we are out of time. I have shared with you all the gestures on my list, but I did make a video about this recently. I'll put the link below with other gestures. It is important to learn the gestures in the language that you're learning. I know I need to learn more in Spanish cultures because, like we've talked about here today, they're different from culture to culture, which can be very tricky, like words that are different from culture to culture. If you think of any questions, go ahead and put them in the comments here or go over to the recording and watch again. See if you can learn and start using these gestures when you're speaking in English, and start to notice the gestures you use in your native language and see if those are gestures that are also used in the English cultures, communities, countries where you are wishing to move or travel or learn about. Um, and I will look forward to seeing all of you next Saturday here at the same time. Okay, I see one more question I'll check. Do we have a gesture for call me? Yes, this is the gesture for call me, especially if you mouth the words call me like this to somebody. And it has changed to this, although this is still very, very common. It's changed to this because our phone is flat now. And I was thinking, no one I know holds their phone like this unless they have a pop socket, which is really common with the younger generation. But most of us hold our phone like this. And I often make this gesture about my phone or speaking to yourself with your phone and recording it. Um, Great question. Yakub asked, do we have a gesture for what about 1 minute? Yes, it's this. 1 minute. Give me a minute. Just a minute. We do this. Um, there are so many gestures. I might make another one about this. So be sure and put your questions because I will include them in the next live that I do like this. All right, everyone. I will see you soon. And yeah.